Hey, good morning, everyone. For those of you joining us this morning, we're going to wait a couple minutes to make sure the room fills up. We'll be with you shortly. Just going to wait a few more seconds for people to come into the room and we will get started. All right, Jamie, what do you say? We ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Good morning, everyone. My name is Quint Perch, and I will be your host for this morning's session on streamlining and maximizing citizen engagement with Cartograph. Joining me this morning is subject matter expert Jamie Burkett. Jamie has been at Cartograph for 4 years and has taken significant interest in how Cartograph can help streamline communication between your organization and your citizens through request management, utility locates, and sharing operational information with the public. Today, Jamie is going to demonstrate two-way communication between requesters and municipalities, share cost information to other stakeholders, and remove paperwork from utility locates. Like yesterday's presentations, I do want to let everyone know that we are recording this session, and the recording and the PowerPoint will both be available for on-demand download next week. In addition, if you have questions, please feel free to use the Q&A section, and we will address those throughout the conversation this morning. And with all of that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Jamie to start things off. Jamie?
Thank you very much, Quint. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie, and today we're gonna look at some tools that we can use to engage with our citizens. Obviously, we're doing a lot of good work within Cartograph, but how can we do a better job of communicating with the public that yes, we've got your service request, or we've completed your service request, or can we just basically, how do we inform the public of all of the good things that we're doing within Cartograph, even other systems, and just how can we let how can we brag about ourselves and let our public know, what a good job that we're doing. So first, we're going to talk about Cartograph's partnership with SeeClickFix. So a little background here. Cartograph had an old legacy system, and to make a long story short, we were doing a partnership, or excuse me, an integration with SeeClickFix at the city of New Haven, Connecticut. At the time, we were deciding were we going to upgrade our citizen engagement platform, but it just made sense to partner with SeeClickFix because they really had kind of the same mission to just become more efficient in communicating with the public. So kind of on the back end, our two software systems aligned really well, but also on the front end, our mission statements really aligned as well. So we just decided to partner with SeeClickFix as our primary citizen engagement tool. Also, an advantage of this partnership is we can resell SeeClickFix. So if you decide that you want to go with SeeClickFix, we can just put that on your Cartograph contract. And also, we will integrate that. So really it's really as if it was our own product as well. So we will integrate it, we will implement it, and we will, you can purchase that through Cartograph. Now, just to let you know, probably about 70% of our demonstration here today is going to be on SeeClickFix, but we are going to also take a look at some of these other options here. So this is just an example of some of the things that we're going to look at today. This is not set in stone. So these are just, as we talk about implementing these smart city initiatives, these are just some examples that we can do. So obviously not one software is going to manage all of these smart city initiatives. So again, we can, hopefully everyone knows about Cartograph's integration with Esri, so we can push things out to Esri maps to again have the public be able to view these maps. We can even from there, Esri has a partnership with Waze, the navigation app. So we can now push things from Cartograph to Esri to Waze to maybe navigate people around construction zones, for example. Through SeeClickFix and through some webhooks from Cartograph, we can push things out to social media. So again, we could send out a tweet automatically when we complete work, or we can have some kind of a request portal on our Facebook page. So again, we're just keeping the public informed of what we're doing. And then also we can have integrations with the 811 system. So obviously 811 is the national number that you can call before you dig. So if a citizen wants to put a new mailbox in their front yard, they can call 811 to make sure they're not going to damage a natural gas line to their house, for example. So again, this is just, I don't want to confuse anybody to, by have too much going on here, but what we're just showing is we can start to have this system of systems where each of these is a tool. Example I like to say is technically I can pound a nail in with a screwdriver, but a hammer is just much more efficient. So technically we can manage service requests in Cartograph, but in this case, SeeClickFix is just much more efficient. So let's kind of go back and just talk about this, the SeeClickFix Cartograph partnership here, and really concentrate on this here for the first part of this demonstration. So the problem that citizen engagement, the problem of citizen engagement is as we move from left to right here, things get more and more complex. So if we start in this first column here, we have our citizens. So obviously we work in government and we serve these citizens. Now to add a layer of complexity, these citizens are also constituents. So depending on the political climate in your organization, it is very important that these people are happy. The mayor, the city council, they rely on them to be happy to get reelected. So again, just this first column here, we've got some complexity. As we move to the right, all of these people have issues. There are traffic issues and graffiti, and we missed garbage pickup. There's traffic issues. Maybe there's a crosswalk button that just doesn't work a block from the school. And we actually rely on our citizens to let us know when our infrastructure doesn't work. We just don't have the staff to go inspect every single crosswalk button every single morning. So again, we rely on our citizens to let us know when there are issues in the community. If we go to the right, we've got more complexity. We're in the 21st century, so we've got all these different methods of communication. We've got the telephone and the mobile phones and apps and the internet and social media. So this adds a layer of complexity, because what if one citizen calls City Hall to report that crosswalk button that doesn't work, but maybe another citizen just writes on our Facebook page? So are we sending two different teams to go fix that same issue because they came in via these different methods of communication? Now then, we have these issues and we've got all these different steps, methods of communication. The next step is we have to route it to the proper department. Sometimes it's difficult to educate the public on who to call. I might have a fire hydrant leaking in my front yard. It might make sense to call the fire station. However, the water department might take care of that maintenance on the fire hydrant. So there's a little issue of educating the public. Also then too, there's an issue of training our staff. Does that person at the fire station know that we're going to send that water hydrant maintenance problem to the water department? So again, there's an issue of we've got to train our staff and we've got to educate the public. Finally, if we, the last step is each department has their own workflow. They have their own methods of triaging and assigning different priorities. So just because we get that issue today doesn't mean that we're going to fix it today. So, and then initially, what happens if we need to contact the citizen? So in the example of that crosswalk button, we might do everything right. We might respond to it very quickly. Maybe we've got to order a part, so we can't fix it today. It's going to take 3 days maybe to get the part in, but we've contacted the school. The school is going to send an extra crossing guard to that intersection, an hour before and after school. So we might have done everything right to solve the issue, but if we can't communicate that with the public, they just think that we've ignored them. So again, when it comes to making these people happy, just the fact that we might have missed the communication, we could still do everything right, but still have an angry resident. So the solution to the problem looks like this. On the left, basically SeeClickFix will handle all of our public facing side of the problem here. So there is there's a mobile application, there's a call taker interface, there are a couple of different website portals, there's a Facebook portal. So really all of this is handled within one solution. And then those issues that we pass into Cartograph just come right into Cartograph. So really sometimes I like to say that Cartograph is the fix to SeeClickFix, where we're doing that work, we're fixing those issues within Cartograph. But then we've got this two-way flow of data between the two systems, that allow us to keep in contact with the public and update them with what we're doing, those steps to fix their issue. Now, there's a couple of advantages to this. There are a couple of advantages to having it structured like this. Is the first advantage is your Cartograph users don't need to learn new software. You already have request management workflows within Cartograph. So there's just a seamless transition from SeeClickFix into Cartograph. So you can just maintain those same workflows that you have established today. The second advantage of having this is because of this two-way flow of data, I can actually still create service requests in Cartograph and they will pass into SeeClickFix. So really now the advantage of this is SeeClickFix can act as that central hub or that central repository of all of these service requests. In addition to that, SeeClickFix can help you manage issues that you may not even manage in Cartograph. So it's a really, basically it's kind of a redundant tool here that we've got both of these systems working together, but really then SeeClickFix can become your central hub of all of your service requests. So today we're going to dig into this, and I just kind of want to talk about what we're going to learn today. The first thing we're going to go through is the citizen's experience. So we're going to show how a citizen can use the mobile application, how the citizen could use a couple of different websites or social media portals to enter their service requests. We're even going to take a look at kind of the back end, maybe how a call center or just somebody at the front desk could enter these service requests into SeeClickFix. From there, we're going to look at a little bit of the back end of SeeClickFix, We're going to show how to do some organizational branding. We're going to add some content to the mobile app. So in addition to just that request management, a lot of public information offices can use SeeClickFix to push content out to their public, and they can do that through the app. And then two, we're going to show how easy it is to add and configure different request issues within SeeClickFix. So again, this left side is probably going to be about 70% of what we discussed today. Moving into the right, we are going to show an example of our 811 integrations. It's a similar experience to SeeClickFix. It's just another system. So again, a citizen can call 811 to get that locate the call before you dig information, and just show how that can come into Cartograph to help your workers then go out and do those locates. We can track the cost of those locates, so on and so forth. And then obviously then close that ticket out and tell the citizen that they can go ahead and dig. Then we're going to also look at some examples of our Esri options. So obviously we can consume Esri data, but not a lot of people know that we can also push data out of Cartograph into Esri. So we can make a lot of online maps, dashboards, again, to show the constituents and your citizens of all the great work that you're doing. And then finally, sprinkled throughout, I like to call this Jamie's tips and tricks, but we're going to have some automated business processes. So that's really the goal here, is to use software to automate some business processes. Things can happen automatically in software to help you become a more efficient and effective organization. So right now I am going to pull up, what we're looking at here is on the left is my iPad. So this is going to represent a field worker. So I am going to start my day as a worker, and I am going to log into Cartograph One on my iPad. On the right here is the SeeClickFix mobile application. So I've purposely left this very blank because I want to just show some native functionality. And then as I mentioned earlier, we are going to look at how we can brand this to our organization. So again, on the left here, this is going to represent that field worker. I've got my service requests here sorted by priority. And on the right is going to be a citizen using the mobile app, the SeeClickFix mobile app. So let's say I'm driving to work one morning and I notice that maybe a drunk driver or somebody just ran over a stop sign, and there's a four-way intersection with a stop sign that has been run over, and I want to report that to the city. So on the bottom here, I can click on this big orange plus button, and I can start to enter this service request from SeeClickFix. In this case, I can take a picture of the issue, and we can see that, yes, this stop sign is fairly damaged. We can see that, there's some debris there from the car. So again, I just want to report this to the city. So I can take a picture. In the upper right-hand corner, I can push next. Now, something really important just happened here is SeeClickFix, the mobile application, can bring in the GPS coordinate of right where I'm standing when I take the picture. I could drag and drop this pin. I could type in an address or a location, but just for this demonstration, I am standing right here at that stop sign, so I can pass that exact location directly to the city. In the upper right-hand corner, I can push next. Now here are all of the different issues that the city can manage. So we've got all of these different issues, and I can go to this sign issue. So now what this does is it will, again, kind of bring in that approximate address, and I can have a summary ticket, and in the upper right-hand corner, I could submit this. But I'm going to tell you it's going to give me an error. So what SeeClickFix allows you to do is I can add some follow-up questions, and I can make them required. So what this allows us to do is we can just get additional information from the public to again, in this case, help us decide what priority we're going to assign this, this issue. So I can see down here, I have a follow-up question, what type of sign? And I can see that it is required. So if I click into this, I can now have a different list of my different type of signs. So this is a stop sign, so I can just select this, apply this, and now submit this. So I've got all of that required information here. I have a summary ticket here. I can see that the ticket is open. I can see the request number, so on and so forth. If I back out of here, it's going to bring me to my profile page. So now this is going to be a list of all of the things that I have submitted. So I reported this tree issue here earlier. Maybe a tree blew over in a storm, or I can back out and I've got another one. I've got this, I want to file this non-emergency police report. So this is a little homage to my grandmother. She never learned how to ride a bicycle and she had a tricycle. So in this case, somebody broke into my garage last night and stole my tricycle. I can enter the serial number and, you know, maybe I just want to have a non-emergency police report for insurance purposes, for example. Also, I am going to real quickly go through that same workflow all over again. Again, maybe a second citizen drove by 10 minutes later and they wanted to report the same issue. Here, SeeClickFix can automatically detect that another citizen has reported this. So again, when we talk about, earlier we talked about sending multiple crews to the same location. Well, the entire SeeClickFix solution, be it the mobile app or the different website portals, can basically inform the citizen that somebody else has already submitted this. So in this case, I can just go down here. I can like the issue and basically I can get notifications as if I had reported this myself. So again, that's a really important thing that I wanted to show, that SeeClickFix can automatically detect these duplicate issues. If I go back to my profile and I refresh this list, I can see now that my sign issue has been acknowledged. So what does that mean? I can click into this and I scroll down and I have a comment from the city of Cartograph here. My service request has been received. It is number 1558. So what does that mean? That means we have successfully passed that service request from SeeClickFix to Cartograph. So if I go over here now to pay attention to the left-hand side of the screen, I refresh this list. I can now see I have this sign issue number 1558 in Cartograph. So that's a really important thing that I want to show here is within just a few seconds, we've taken this issue directly from the citizen who is standing at that corner, and we have passed it directly into Cartograph. You know, so for this significant public safety event, we've passed it within a few seconds directly to that worker who can go out and fix the issue. So I'm going to pause here and we're going to click into this. And there's a few automations. Remember, we talked about Jamie's tips and tricks here. So I want to show a few of these. Some of these are due to the productized integration with SeeClickFix. And there's some other things that happen here that are some automations within Cartograph. So the first thing I want to show is we've directly passed that GPS coordinate right where that citizen was standing from their mobile app directly into Cartograph. If I swipe here, too, as a field worker, I can see that picture also that the citizen took. So we've passed that from the citizen's camera to SeeClickFix into Cartograph. As I scroll down again, I've got some you know, the approximate address. And if we scroll down some more, I can see that we've passed that follow-up question from SeeClickFix into Cartograph. So again, we're just getting additional information from our public and we can pass that right into Cartograph. Now I've got an automation here also that says anytime this description has a stop sign in it, we want to set that to our highest important priority. So again, we can automatically triage these issues depending on the answers here. So again, if this were a speed limit sign, that could be a lower issue and a lower priority. I may not have to fix that until tomorrow or next week. But again, this stop sign, a very significant public safety issue, and we want to set that at our highest priority. Two, if I scroll down here, I can also see that there is a due date, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but SeeClickFix has the ability to create service level agreements. So in this case, we can set those service level agreements in SeeClickFix. That will establish a due date, and I can automatically pass that due date into Cartograph. One other thing here that I want to point out that is integral as part of the productized integration is you're going to see we have this comment section. So as a worker, this is how I can directly, if that is your workflow, I could communicate with the public, or again, if I had those permissions, we could set those permissions on who can make those comments, so on and so forth. But I just want to show this that as a worker, I could add a comment here, and I can click on this comment field, and I'm just going to use for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use the voice to text function here. I'm in the area. I'll be there in about 10 minutes to fix this stop sign issue. So again, I could just use I'm just using the native functionality of my device to, to help me communicate with the public. I do have the option, and we can look at that a little bit later, but all comments could be either public or private, so we can have an internal dialogue as well with city or county staff. Also, too, I want to point, we have this requester log. So because I have a SeeClickFix account, we can pass that email address into Cartograph, and if we have that contact information from the citizen already in our requester library in Cartograph, I could maybe get their phone number or their address. So again, if as a field worker I need to make additional contact with this citizen, I have that ability to pull up their further contact information as well. So from here, I'm just going to quickly walk through the typical Cartograph workflow. So in this case, I'm going to create work. We are going to, I can automatically, again, pull in that GPS coordinate of where that issue is. I can select that, hey, we're going to do work on some signs. So I'm loading my sign layer from my asset registry into the window here. So this is obviously the street sign that we want to replace. I can click on that. I can now create a replace activity or whatever your workflow is. In this case, that sign was pretty banged up. So we're just going to create a replace activity. I can go ahead and create that task. From here, again, I'm going to quickly go through this. I could enter my labor hours, my equipment, my materials, but just for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to go ahead and complete this task. So we've gone out, we've completed the work, we've replaced the sign, so on and so forth. So now I show that because there's a couple of different automations that just happened here. So I have we can see now if I scroll up here that this request now is closed within Cartograph. So basically what that means is I have an automation that says anytime we complete work on a request in Cartograph, we're going to automatically close that service request. If you have a different workflow, that's okay. But in this case, that's just an automation that we have in Cartograph. And from there, once that is closed in Cartograph, the productized integration will close that in SeeClickFix. So if I now going to give this 1 second to sync back up, but if we pay attention to the right-hand side, I am going to refresh my screen here, and I can now see that as a citizen, that sign issue is closed. So again, we automatically close that in Cartograph, which will automatically close that in SeeClickFix. And now as a citizen, I can click into this And as I scroll down, I'm going to see that there are 4 comments. So here is that initial comment. There's an automatic comment that tells the citizen that, hey, we have actually, not only have we received your request, but we've actually created a work task in our work management software. Here is where that, I use that voice to text functionality to inform the citizen that I'm going to be there in about 10 minutes, so on and so forth. And then finally, here is an automatic response to the public that we've closed that service request. So with that, that is, again, I really like to show that because that highlights the SeeClickFix mobile application. It highlights our Cartograph One application, and we can literally send, within just a few seconds, these really important service requests directly from the citizen standing at the place where that issue is, and we can directly send that to the worker in the field or the supervisor or so on and so forth, and we can create that work with the mobile device to become to really have this high performance citizen engagement with our public.
Awesome, Jamie. Hey, while we're there, we do have one question I just want some clarification on, and it has to do with multiple callers calling in on the same issue.
Mm-hmm.
So you showed the way that the citizen could check the heart for the same issue and then be notified. Does Cartograph have the same functionality in the ability to have multiple callers associated to the same issue?
Yes, we have the we have what's called a requester log, so I can always add a requester within Cartograph as an additional caller. 2, we have the ability that was an automatic duplicate detection here as well. So I could on the back end, and we can actually merge tickets together if somehow the automatic duplicate detection doesn't work. So I could add, again, I could do it in both places. I could add those different callers in either SeeClickFix or in Cartograph, but we could do it in both places for sure.
Perfect, thank you.
And then in that case, we've got those automatic notifications from Cartograph. So even if that citizen doesn't have a SeeClickFix account, they could still receive those emails in Cartograph because they are an additional caller on that service request.
Thank you.
All right. So I am going to go back into, so now I'm in, what I have here is we're going to talk a little bit more about this, but what I have here, this is my Esri Hub page. So ArcGIS Online allows you now this, the ability to kind of create what they call Esri Hub. So what this is, it's just a tool in which I can create these web pages that are utilized on ArcGIS Online. So obviously too, I think I forgot to mention, but SeeClickFix was recently acquired by Civic Plus. So Civic Plus is a leader in website hosting for local government. So this could be an example too of what a Civic Plus or any other website provider. But this is again just an example of what a SeeClickFix website portal might look like on your web page. So as a citizen, I could go down here and I want to view the issues. This is going to bring me to a map of all of the different issues within my town of Carterville here. So I can see here is that sign issue that was just finished. I could see these different that tree issue, missed trash pickup, so on and so forth. So I can just log into this SeeClickFix web portal, see this map, of open issues, acknowledged issues, closed issues, so on and so forth. Also in the upper right-hand corner, I do have the ability to just see my request. So I'm actually logged in here, so I can actually see my request. So this is going to be that same list that we saw on my profile button on my application. These are just those same issues that I reported. Again, there's that homage to my grandmother with her tricycle. So too, from this as a citizen, I could also create a new request. So again, this is just how an example of how a citizen could report an issue via a website. So I want to log in and I want to request, or excuse me, submit a new request. So here again, I could type in an address, I could type in an issue. Maybe there is, I go to the work every day and I know there's a pothole here right south of Holiday Park. So once I can confirm that location, and now it will bring me again to the same list. So now it's just kind of that same workflow again and again. I can select this pothole issue. If I wanted to, I can add an image. Here's this large pothole, so I could upload that image of the pothole. I can go on to the next step. And again, this is an example of those follow-up questions. So this is going to be different. Which lane is it in? Oh, it's in the westbound lane. So again, we're just getting extra information from the citizen to help our field crews find this issue easier. Once I confirm those details, I could go ahead and submit this by myself, or I could hide my identity. And we're going to get into a little bit of this a little bit later. But in this case, I'm already logged in. I want to submit this as myself. I can go ahead and submit this. So it's really that very similar workflow to the mobile application, but just on the website itself. Another thing, if I go back to my hub page, again, remember earlier we talked, sometimes it's difficult to educate the public on what we need, what the information we need. So here's an example. If I go down here, I'm going to, this is another example. This is what is called the SeeClickFix hub. So I want to report an issue. It's going to, again, this is just could be any website provider, but this is just an example of what it could look like. We've got to report a crime or a pothole or that sign issue. But in this case, I'm just using a website to educate the public. So I can click on this. I want to report a broken parking meter. Before I report that, it brings me to another website that basically educates the public. We manage thousands of parking lots within our, or excuse me, parking meters within our organization. So to help us, respond better, every single parking meter has this green sticker on it, where there's a zone number and a space number. So this is just an example of a website educating the public of what we need, what information we need from them before we even are going to bother sending somebody to go fix this. So in this case, find that big green sticker. If possible, take a photo. And then once I've got all of that information, I can now press this button and watch what happens here. Once we click this, report a meter, it's going to bring me to the SeeClickFix interface, and that issue is already selected for me. So again, we've taken one step out of that process where, remember we had that long list of issues earlier. Well, now I can just have a button on a website that's going to automatically take me to this broken parking meter. In this case, I don't have a phone number, but again, or excuse me, a photo, but again, I can say it is zone number 123 and space number 456. So again, just more examples of these additional follow-up questions that we can get the required information. So again, I can submit this. So I really like that example. The city of Orlando, they've got a really nice SeeClickFix, or excuse me, a really nice website that similar to that, but they really have taken the time to create all of this website content, again, to educate the public about all of that information that they need. So it's a really valuable tool there. So now I'm going to go, I'm going to kind of go back into my, this is an example of what the back office would look like. So as a, just as a call taker or what have you, I can have a list of all of my issues. So very similar to Cartograph. On the left, I could create all of these different filters. So depending on the role of my organization, maybe I only care about potholes. I work in the public works department, and all I care about is potholes. I could just have a list of all of my potholes. So again, this is very similar to those creating those filters on our layers within Cartograph, but just really how we do that in SeeClickFix. Also, I want to show one last example of how a citizen's experience. So I can have SeeClickFix is basically I have this call taker interface. So up in the upper right-hand corner, I can go ahead and as a call taker, be it if I work in a call center or I work, I just answer the phones at the Public Works Department, I can enter these requests from a phone call right within SeeClickFix. So here I'm going to submit a new request. And this is kind of a nice feature here is we're going to see on the right here, I have these, basically I have this little tooltip that will help the call taker get all of the required information. Remember, we talked about training our staff. So this is just one example of, we've just got this tooltip here that will help that call taker, even if they don't necessarily work in that department, get all of that information that they need. And these check boxes will then turn to green once they've got that information. So in this case, we've got to enter in a location. So again, I could drag and drop that. I could type in an address, so on and so forth. Once I've provided the location, I get the green check mark. I have this whole list of issues here. I can go ahead and just type, again, maybe we're just going to report another pothole. I can select that. Once I do that, I get a second green check mark. So again, as a call taker who may not have the intricate knowledge of all of these different departments, I can at least know that I am entering the correct information. Now, this is, again, kind of what I like here is that call taker can now use this call taker interface kind of as a script. So as I go through here, we can type in the description, or again, I have that which lane is that. So again, as a call taker, I can ask the citizen, which lane is your pothole located? It's in the northbound lane. So again, just an example of those follow-up questions, but we can use this interface as a script, again, to just help those call takers that may not be completely up to date with the inner workings of all of the different departments within the city. Again, if I had a photo, maybe the citizen could email me a photo, or whatever, I could get a photo in there. And then too, I can add some emails or a phone number. In this case, I could just go ahead and I'm just going to enter in my my email. So even I have a SeeClickFix account, but maybe my mobile phone, the battery died and I just actually used the payphone to call, or I walked in, or what have you. And then too, I can go ahead. Do you want to remain anonymous? No, I don't. So I've got all of these different options here. And then too, I can say, what is the source of this call? So in this case, it's the call taker interface. And so again, that's just a quick example of how a call taker could enter this, use the SeeClickFix interface to act as a script to, again, get all of the information that we need.
Jamie, this is great stuff. You ready for a couple questions?
I am.
All right, first question. Does SeeClickFix have security roles similar to what Cartograph does for setting up security for different users?
Absolutely. Yes. So I believe there are 4 different roles. Each of them can have, just like in Cartograph, you can set those permissions as micro or as macro as you want. Again, if my role is only potholes, the administrative team can set that. Jamie will only see potholes and only has access to potholes in SeeClickFix. And not only that, we can set all different types of permissions. Can Jamie open new pothole requests or close requests or so on and so forth? So no matter what your business processes are in your organization, you can definitely set those permissions to so that SeeClickFix will mirror those business processes and those permissions.
Perfect. Another really good question, we get this a lot, is what happens if we use SeeClickFix and it's long grass or a vacant house and it has nothing to do with Public Works? Can citizens still use SeeClickFix to report that? And does that come into Cartograph or does that go somewhere else?
So absolutely. So as an example of that, here again, here's an example. So we're going to see here, these potholes, these all go to Cartograph. This sign issue, this goes to Cartograph. Now, when I do these demos, I think, what is the least likely department in a city to use Cartograph? And in that case, it's probably the police department. So in this case, I can see that this does not go to Cartograph. This just exists within SeeClickFix. So again, when we talked about that structure of having SeeClickFix is that central repository of all service requests, they don't all have to be managed within Cartograph. So if I click into this this file, a non-emergency police report, I can see that again, somebody broke into my garage and stole my grandmother's tricycle. Here's the serial number 90125. So what I can do is let's go ahead and automatically close this within SeeClickFix. And now SeeClickFix allows you to insert some prepared content. So if you've got frequent issues, I can just have this prepared content in here. So in this case, I can enter this, here we have this prepared content that just basically says, hey, we have forwarded this information to the desk sergeant. He's going to type up the police report and you should receive a copy within 5 to 10 business days. So within, I can go ahead and update that. I've got all types of different options here where in this case, it's not assigned. I could go in here, I could reassign this. Maybe Gary here is my desk sergeant of the day. So I could go ahead and assign this to Officer Griffiths. He can be the one who, whatever that workflow is to issue that police report, we can at least use SeeClickFix to monitor that we did get that service request. We've got all these different statuses. I can reassign it to a person. I can set that due date, and then obviously we can just close that request and manage that all within SeeClickFix. So, those prior few examples, we actually manage the work in Cartograph, but that does not have to be the case. Same thing here with that broken parking meter. I can click on this broken parking meter. I'm just going to go ahead and close this. I've got where is it here? It's an invalid meter number. Remember, we had, I just entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's an invalid number. We're just going to close it. That meter number is not in our, in our parking meter registry. So as a citizen, we tried to educate you as much as we could. We told you we need that accurate zone number, meter number. You did not provide it. So we're just going to close it. We're not going to waste our time, going through 3,000 individual parking meters to try to find that one that was reported.
Nice to see you got a promotion to mayor.
Well,
following up on those comments, Jamie, one of the questions was, if I make comments in Cartograph, do those comments go back into SeeClickFix to the citizen?
Yes. So remember, we talked about, I used that voice to text example that was in Cartograph. So I said, hey, I'll be there in 15 minutes to repair this sign. So that was done in Cartograph, but then that pushed into SeeClickFix. And just to prove that, I am in the SeeClickFix interface. Here is that sign issue. And then here is that comment that I made in Cartograph, and it is now in SeeClickFix. Okay, also, too, perfect. I could make an internal comment too. So I can just, hey, I can type this. So if we want to have an internal dialogue, I can just check this internal. I can post that. And then we're going to see that all of our internal dialogue between city staff is just kind of shaded this little light color of yellow, and it's indented. So, if we need to have that internal dialogue between staff, we can do that as well.
All right, next couple questions. If a request is recategorized in the SeeClickFix library or issue library, does that change reflect over into Cartograph or vice versa?
That's a good question, and I don't believe it does. I believe you do have to go in there and recategorize it manually.
Okay. Along those lines, how easy is SeeClickFix to integrate with Cartograph? Can I, as a user, configure it on my own, or do I have to work with SeeClickFix to work on the admin side? And I think you're going to talk a little bit more about this.
I will. So the answer is it's easy. So the initial integration will, Cartograph will handle that. So in that case, what we're going to do is we're going to, what are those issues? What are those follow-up questions? How do you want all of them to behave? Some issues are going to be public, some are going to be private. Sometimes those code enforcement issues are sensitive. My neighbor hasn't cut his grass all summer. I want to report that to the city. I don't necessarily want my neighbor to know that I reported them to the city. So we can keep those issues private. So during that initial integration and implementation, you'll work with Cartograph then to set those up. But then once that's done, if you want to add additional issues, it's a productized integration. So on the back end of Cartograph, it's literally one checkbox that says, hey, we're going to push this issue from Cartograph to SeeClickFix. It's a pretty easy, straightforward thing, and we'll obviously have the training to show how to add additional issues that might come up.
All right.
Or even further expansion into different departments, so on and so forth. So absolutely, it's easy.
Two more questions for you, Jamie, before I let you get going again. This is always a good one that we get when we're doing demos. Can SeeClickFix notify someone that they are reporting an issue that is not in our city? In other words, outside the city limits. How would you handle that?
Yes. So in this case, real quick, let's just show this. As a new call taker, we're going to go in here and I am going to select something way, 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 way over here out of our jurisdiction. And if you see, I can't even enter anything. So in this case, that call taker could say, well, I'm sorry, that's out of our jurisdiction. So SeeClickFix, again, this is kind of where SeeClickFix goes above and beyond what Cartograph's request management can do. So we can actually set different geographies within your organization. So as an example, I used to work at the city of Anderson, South Carolina, and most of our issues were within the city boundaries. However, our water service area extended beyond those city boundaries. So those water issues, we're going to service outside of the city boundaries, but we won't be able to report a pothole because that is not our jurisdiction. Additionally, our sewer service area had a different boundary that went beyond the city boundaries that were different than the water service area. So we can absolutely set up different geographies within the city, or excuse me, within the organization, and set those different request categories that will respond to those different geographies. And so what SeeClickFix does is it does a really good job of those jurisdictional overlaps and then even the donut holes. So at the city of Anderson, right in the center of the city of Anderson was a county courthouse. So obviously any issues at the courthouse would go to the county, even though it's directly in the middle of the city. So we can definitely set up those geographies to handle those different overlaps and donut holes.
Perfect.
Or finally, too, just as an example, I could always have that prepared content where maybe, again, I could just have some prepared content that I believe I have one here that your request is out of our jurisdiction. That's actually the Iowa DOT that handles that. Here's their contact information. So you've got quite a few options when it comes to those out of jurisdiction issues.
All right, one more before we get going. Not sure what the answer is of this, so we may have to get back with this requester, but is there a translate to Spanish option for the customer side user interface on SeeClickFix?
That will require a further follow-up. I am not sure about that.
Okay, so Jerry, who responded that, if you're listening, we will get back with you on that.
Yep.
I'll stop now.
Okay. Well, those are all great questions. Thank you very much. So real quickly, now what I want to do is earlier we looked at the mobile app, and I'm going to pull it up again just very quickly to show. Basically, this is just the out of the box SeeClickFix app. So let's talk about how we can administer some of this public information on the back end of SeeClickFix. So here up in the upper right hand corner, I'm going to manage my organization. Again, this would need those only those admins with the specific permissions could access this. So this is really where kind of from that public information standpoint, we can enter that content that we really want to push out to our public. So in this case, let's do some mobile app branding. So if I click on this option here, I can go in and I could put some content right within the app. So here I've got this banner message. So I'm going to say, hey, Cartagon 2021, let's join the smart infrastructure management revolution. So again, this could be anything. This could be a boil water notice. This could be, I live in Minneapolis. We have what are called snow emergencies. When we get over 6 inches of snow, they'll declare a snow emergency where you've got to park on the even side of the street on an even date and the odd side of the street on an odd date, so we can clear the, snow plow the road. So just an example of how we can push content directly out to the public. And then if you see here on the right, we kind of get a preview of what our mobile app is going to look like. Now I could add an image here. So here I've got this nice city of Carticon or a Carterville logo. I can add that. And two, I can add a background image as well. So I've got this nice image here. We can go ahead and add that, and I can just go ahead and publish this. And once it goes through, we've done that, and I've got a nice preview of what my app will look like. So two, let's add some further content. So let's go ahead and let's add some buttons to our application. So I have no mobile app buttons whatsoever. So let's go ahead and add a new button. So once I do that, I can enter a label. I'm going to call this my website. So I can go ahead and add this. From here, I can select what is this icon going to look like. I'm going to use this home because this is going to be our home page. And now again, we're configuring the app. So I am not an app developer. I don't have any developing skills, programming skills, but this is just really a quick and easy way in which I can configure the mobile app. So you don't have to hire an app development team to create this mobile app. So now I can select what type of action do I want. In this case, I could call a phone number or show some text, but in this case, we're going to view the URL right within the app. And then I am going to enter a URL here. So I'm just copying and pasting this URL. And so I can just create this mobile application or this mobile button. So just for demonstration purposes, let's do a few more of these. So let's go ahead and obviously COVID has been a thing. So we want to have some type of COVID information. Maybe I want to enter that. I could select an icon here. Let's this health icon. And now in this case, I just want to show some text. So let me copy and paste this text here. So basically this will open up a little, I've got a little kind of a word processing document. So I could add images. In this case, we want to inform our public that, we're doing all of our city council meetings online. I could enter the Zoom, the Zoom meeting, so on and so forth. So again, we just want to put some content into our mobile application. Let's add another button. Again, let's call this the mayor's office. So again, I have just been promoted. I want to have citizens be able to call me my office directly from their application maybe. So I can again select this and let's have an the number, let's call a phone number, and my phone number is obviously 867-5309. So we can go ahead and enter that. So basically what I'm doing is I'm creating all of this content within my app. I've got 2 more here that I want to add. Let's add a map. Let's call this the hydrant map. So I'm just creating content for my app. If I scroll down, here's a map. Now, for anyone who attended some of the sessions earlier on the first day of CartaCon, this village of Lombard, Illinois, they have a really great water hydrant flushing map. So again, they can push that out into Esri, and we're going to see I'm going to be able to view that Esri map right within SeeClickFix. So we've done that. And then finally, let's do one last one. Mayor Jamie, again, he is a pretty tech savvy person, so he wants our Twitter account here. So we can go ahead and we want to have the citizens access social media. So we've got, let's create this social media Twitter icon. We're gonna actually have that one open up the Twitter app on the citizen's phone. And let's quickly add this. So here is the URL to my Twitter app, or to my Twitter account. So we have just added a bunch of buttons, a bunch of content. And let's do one last thing. Let's take a look at these request categories. So if I scroll down here, this is going to be the list of all of my request categories. So here's an example, missed snow plowing. So I can disable this or enable this. So some of these are going to be seasonal. So during the summer months, I could disable this missed snow plowing issue. It's September already here in Minnesota, so sooner or later it's going to snow. So we can re-enable that, you know, when in the winter months. So any of those seasonal issues, you can just quickly and easily edit them, disable them, and enable them or disable them when appropriate. So 2, let's go in here and edit this. So this is how we kind of configure all of these request categories. So I've got the ability to make all of these behave as I want to. So again, is this only an internal option? So maybe we want our city employees to enter those service requests for our buildings, for example. So if a light burns out in the fire station, we can use that, send our building maintenance staff that notice via SeeClickFix. So not only can our citizens use that, but our city staff can use SeeClickFix to report internal issues as well. If I scroll down, this is where I can set that service level agreement. So we don't have a service level agreement. Let's say we want to fix all of our missed snow plowing within a day. So I can set that service level agreement. And remember, we saw that earlier, Quint, when SeeClickFix automatically creates that due date. This is how SeeClickFix does that. We can also escalate that to somebody. So when our service level agreements, when they pass the 50% mark, we can escalate that to a supervisor. So we can set these due dates. We can inform those people when these due dates are getting close. So we've got all the options here to really configure SeeClickFix to behave how we want it to behave. Again, we've got some public user restrictions as well. Do we want to allow the public to reopen a request or change the status on their own, so on and so forth? And in this case, this missed snow plowing, it does integrate into Cartograph. So this is what we call that that issue in Cartograph as well. So it's just super easy to integrate. I just literally copy and paste the title of the issue in Cartograph, and it's here in SeeClickFix. So now I can go ahead and update that And then two, if we scroll down to this missed snow plowing, I now have these additional questions. So here we can edit this. And in this case, we're going to have an option on, did we miss my street, or did we damage the mailbox, or so on and so forth. So again, you've got all of these different options, from text to pull down list, check boxes. Do we want to just have the citizen enter a date and time field, so on and so forth. So I just wanted to quickly show that we can make these issues basically behave how we want them to behave, either public or private, all of those additional questions, so on and so forth. So let's go back to the mobile app. Oh, look at how beautiful that is now. So what we've done is we have branded this with 0 programming skills, 0 mobile app development skills. I've added a nice pretty logo. I've added that content. And then now let's click on these different buttons here. So let's click on this website button. It's going to take me to the Carticon page. If I back out of this, if I click on that COVID button, here is my text with the link to the city council Zoom page, so on and so forth. I want to call the mayor. So this is kind of a nice feature. If I click this, it's actually going to pull up the native call taking interface of my mobile phone. So I could have basically almost a directory right here on those important phone numbers that the citizen can call. Let's take a look at that hydrant map. So if we do this, I'm going to rotate my map here, and I can see all of that cool information that the Village of Lombard did. We can see all of the number of gallons flushed, so on and so forth. So this is just one example of pushing data out to a map and now consuming that map within SeeClickFix. And then finally, let's click on this Twitter account. So here I have the City of Carterville's Twitter account. So let's see what a recent tweet was. Oh, hello, citizen. A reported sign issue has been closed. So remember, very early on, Quint, we did that sign issue from my mobile device. Well, we have a automation within Cartograph now that takes advantage of a webhook, where basically any event in Cartograph can trigger an event somewhere else on the internet. So basically, I just have an automation that says anytime Cartograph closes an issue, let's go ahead and tweet about it. So in this case, that was just an automatic tweet that we sent out via Cartograph regarding an issue that originated in SeeClickFix. So now we're really starting to build the system of systems where we are really starting to have some high performance citizen engagement. So citizens in this case can use social media to keep track of issues or just all of the work that the city is doing for us.
That's awesome stuff, Jamie.
Yep. So that, again, that pretty much concludes the SeeClickFix side of things. So next I want to talk about our 811 integration, but Quint, were there any other questions just regarding SeeClickFix before we move on?
Yes, actually there is. There's one question, really good question. We get this frequently as well. Can or how does SeeClickFix handle SMS, text messaging, or voicemail? Is that even possible?
I don't believe so yet.
Okay. One of the other questions that we had previously that we said
real quickly though, that voicemail that was sent, or we could again use that call taker interface. So that's just what I would do as a call taker. I would just play that voicemail and then enter it into the call taker interface.
Okay. One of the other questions, a follow-up to Jerry. He had the question on the Spanish language. We did get confirmation that yes, there is a way to translate both on the mobile and the web portal for SeeClickFix into the Spanish language. Jerry will be sending you some of that information, and we'll post that as part of the PowerPoint for everyone as well. I think we are good.
Excellent. All right, so let's talk quickly about 811. So I'm going to go into my Cartograph instance, and I'm going to log in here because naturally it timed me out as we spent some time on the SeeClickFix side. So really our 811 integration is very similar to SeeClickFix. So obviously we just saw in a citizen can create a service request in SeeClickFix, and that will create a service request in Cartograph. So very similar to that, a citizen enters an 811 ticket, and instead of creating a request in Cartograph, it will actually create an 811 locate task. So here I've got a map of all of my different 811 locate tasks. So this is again just part of that integration with each state's 811 system. So because of that, on the left, I can use all of the different filtering tools to create these different layers. In this case, I just happen to have orange are our planned 811 locates that we need to do. Anything that's purple are locates that we've already have completed. So in this case, we're just creating an 811 locate task, and I can use all of the fun filtering within Cartograph to create this map as I see fit. So now if I click into this 811 locate task, let's look at this detailed view. So as part of the integration with the 811 system, each 811 system is going to create an 811 ticket number. And so now what we've done is we've actually assigned our Cartograph task ID that same exact 811 ticket number. So if it's that same number is going to exist in both 811 and Cartograph. Obviously then too, I can see the boundaries of the locates that we need to do right within on the map here. As I scroll down here, I get more 811 information. So let's expand this. And now I get the ticket number and I get all of this information that 811 has collected. And very similar to SeeClickFix, we've just passed all of that information into Cartograph. So I've got the county, the state, the city, the lat long, all the member codes, so on and so forth. So again, 811 is doing a good job of collecting all of the necessary information, and we've just passed that into Cartograph as part of the productized integration with the state's 811 system. If I go down here to my attached files, we're also attaching some data from 811. So if I click on this, we're actually going to pull in a link to the 811 system's map. So if I need to, I can view that map. Obviously, we saw that map in Cartograph, but I could see that also within the 811 system. I could see the actual ticket number itself. So again, this is just kind of all of that information that we passed into the 811 detail section above, but if I needed to, I could see that here. And I could also click on the link here to follow that, to get to that map as well. And then two, if this is a little messy here, but I've got all of this XML data. So if your IT department wants to do any other IT wizardry with all of this information, they have access to that as well. So again, this is just very similar to SeeClickFix, passing that location and image data. I can do a similar thing here where we're passing all of that ticket data, the map, right within from 811 to Cartograph. Now, again, I could always go in, I could enter my resources, so we can now start to track all of our labor hours, our equipment hours, or any materials we might use within this. And then two, each state is a little different. And so but here I can go ahead and edit this. So each state will have their own different response code. So depending on your state, we will make sure that this drop-down list has all of your state's response codes. So in this case, hey, there was actually no locate necessary. I can go ahead, enter that response code, and it's a Very similar thing with SeeClickFix. We're just now passing that response code from Cartograph back to 811. And then when I complete that task in Cartograph, it's going to complete that task in the 811 system, and whatever that methodology that each state's 811 system, that methodology then will let the citizen know that that locate has been completed. So again, very similar function to SeeClickFix. However, we just create an actual 811 task, pass some of that data, that important data that we need to do this locate, and then we just complete that work in Cartograph, which will close that ticket out on the 811 system.
Looks good, Jamie. There were no questions, so I think everyone got the 811. The 311 on the 811.
The 311 on the 811, yes. So the last thing I want to show, I'm going to close a few of my tabs here. Oh, I did forget to show this, but also within SeeClickFix, there is a Facebook portal. I just forgot to show this. So here's an example of the city of Anderson. Again, they're a SeeClickFix client. So this is just an example of what their Facebook portal would look like, but it's the same exact workflow. I just select the location. I can go ahead. They've actually parsed their the different issues by different departments. So this is kind of a citywide thing. If I scroll down here, remember we talked that their the water service area is different than their city boundaries. So these issues are going to correspond to the not only the water department, but also to the different geography that that water department or that water service area has. Again, sewer department has a different geography. So we're kind of looking at a few birds with one stone here, where we've got that Facebook embedded map, and we're also putting these issues to different departments which have different geographies. So I did forget to mention that. So now let's talk a little bit about some Esri tools. We looked a little bit at them. So what we're looking at here is it's kind of a newer product from Esri, but this is their ArcGIS Online Hub. So really what this is, it's an easy to configure community engagement platform that helps organize people, data, and different tools through different data-driven initiatives. So again, we looked at how, and so what this is, it's very similar to just a web hosting platform. But it's really easy just to, again, I have no developmental skills and I built this. So it's kind of a nice modular approach where I can build a website and then host it on my ArcGIS Online site. So let's look at a few examples of how we can push data out of Cartograph and into some different Esri products. So here's an example I like to show. So obviously Esri has their fair share of different dashboards. So if I want to view this dashboard in a similar way that we can push request data out into GIS, I can also push work data out into GIS. So here's an example of several different gadgets and a dashboard here that we can create. So, and then again, we can just make this available to the public. So in the upper left-hand side, maybe we want to break down the total cost by department. So I can just see here that the street departments is 32% of our budget, or the fire department is 13.7% of our budget. So again, we can just push that data out into Esri and then create these different gadgets. I kind of like this one. Here's a total cost per month. We can see that why did we spend all of this money in March? Well, maybe we had the COVID restrictions, so we had to do just a whole bunch of stuff to be in compliance and all of these different cleaning initiatives and so on and so forth. So, maybe that's why we spent all of this extra money here in March that we aren't spending in different months of the year. And then two, maybe I just want to, again, we all know that Cartograph is really good at, tallying up all of those costs for our different resources. So maybe I just want to have these different gadgets as far as labor costs, material costs, so on and so forth. So, or what is the total cost by resource in a pie chart? And then what I really like here is this heat map. Now this heat map is actually a map of total dollars spent. So this is, and we can now get an idea of where in the city are we spending our money. So this is just a great example of using all of the, Esri's, the science of where, and showing where we're spending our money. Now, there might be good reasons where, here and here we're spending more money. Maybe it's a capacity issue, or just the age of our infrastructure. These might be older areas of town where that infrastructure is just old, it's crumbling, and we're spending money to fix that. Or this might shine light onto political issues. Maybe this is where Mayor Jamie lives, so he likes to have his street nice and repaired. So again, it just gives you really good insight of using all of Esri's geoprocessing and analytical tools on your Cartograph data. If we back out of here, we can go into, again, we looked at this earlier, but here are just some of our customer success. So if I click on this Lombard one, this is that exact map that we had embedded in the SeeClickFix mobile application. But this is, again, just that same hydrant flushing map that the Village of Lombard, Illinois created to show their citizens of all of the work that they're doing to flush these hydrants annually. So they've completed 73%. So they've only got a quarter of them to do. We've got all the, again, the same type of analytics. We're just breaking down the total cost, the labor cost, the amount of gallons flushed, so on and so forth. But this is an actual, customer of ours just pushing data out of Cartograph into this Esri map. Another one I like to see here is this cone zone map. So the Colorado Springs is a Cartograph client, and what they do is they have a cone zone map. So whenever they create work on a pavement segment, they've got an automation that says, hey, let's automatically create what we call a cone zone based on the segment of that pavement. And then there's two different statuses really. Is it just an active cone zone, which just means we've got at least one lane or more is restricted, or is, and those are orange, or is the entire road closed? So that's going to be red. So if I zoom in here, I can see here that we've got some road closures here up by the Spencer Center. So Colorado Springs, they took this one step further, and I talked about this at the initial PowerPoint slide, but Esri has a partnership with Waze, the navigation app. So they can take data from Cartograph, push it out into Esri, tell the public, have a public map of where these road construction projects are, and then they go one step further. They push that from Esri into Waze. And then if a citizen, again, wanted to go to the Spencer Center here, well, then Waze is going to know to reroute them around this road construction here and this road closure here. So again, when we start talking about those system of systems, that's what, our customers are doing this live in real time today. So we're just pushing data out of Cartograph into Esri, from Esri into Waze, or any other number of navigation apps. So it's a really, really cool thing that the city of Colorado Springs is doing with their Cartograph data. A few more things I want to showcase here. Let's look at this local perspective here. I've got this heat map. So this is going to be a heat map of all of our service requests that come into Cartograph. Similar to that dollar spent dashboard, I could just create some type of in this case, this is just a web app that Esri provides through ArcGIS Online, and I am just visualizing not only the locations of all of our service requests, but a heat map as well. So again, I can use all those tools. Maybe I just want to have a pothole map or a downed tree map. Maybe there's a storm. Let's go ahead and create a map of all of the trees that were downed, and so we can update the public on all of that debris removal that we're doing to clean up from the storm. So just some really, really cool things that we can do just by pushing cartograph data out into a Esri web map. If I go back here, now this is the really neat thing that I like about Hub is, since this is hosted on the ArcGIS Online platform, I can actually have some modules that will read cartograph data right within the Hub. So if I click on this local data on my local perspective app here, I can now see embedded in this web page on my Hub, I have a dashboard embedded in this web page. So it's very similar. I've got that similar heat map, but now it's in a dashboard. And then I can, I've got that similar pie chart, or I can have these different, how many potholes have we patched? How many sign issues have we resolved? So on and so forth. And then this one's a really cool one where I can just this is just, again, a chart within Hub that is reading cartograph data. So I could just, I can see that maybe our requests are trending upwards over time. So just to show how easy it is to create let's do this. This is going to be, I'm kind of putting, Quint doesn't know that this is going to happen, but let's actually add a new chart here. So I can edit my Hub, and this is going to bring me into the edit menu. And in this case, I'm going to go to this layout tab, and I've got all of these different modules from different text box or surveys, so on and so forth. And I have zero programming skills. I can just drag and drop this box, and I can decide where do I want to put that. Let's put this up here. Once I do that, I can choose the chart type. Let's create a pie chart. So we've got a pie chart, and then I'm going to find the data. So in this case, I have, we call our demo environment Demo SME, and we're pushing our service requests from our cartograph website into a feature service in ArcGIS Online. So I'm just going to select that, yes, this is the data that I want. And then from here, maybe we just want to see a pie chart of all of our different issues. So if I click on this, I have all of a sudden created this pie chart of all of our issues, and I can go ahead and save that and then publish that directly to our new ArcGIS Hub site. So just super easy to create these different web pages in the Hub, create links to different maps and dashboards. But not only that, I can just, because this is an Esri product, I am just consuming Esri data right into this web page. So really, really cool tool.
So Jamie, that's pretty neat, considering this is all coming for full circle. We started with SeeClickFix, you submitted requests, they went into Cartograph. Now you're sharing all of this information to non-Cartograph users, even though it is Cartograph data. And for your final item, you've added this request graphic to our Hub page. And within those potholes, for example, those are some of those SeeClickFix issues that you brought in.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
Yep. So yeah, again, we're building a system of systems. We're using the best tool for the job. Esri does a great job on all these analytics. So let's use Esri to do those analytics, those geoprocessing tools. SeeClickFix is built for citizen engagement. Let's do that to directly communicate with that citizen or those citizens who are following issues. Waze does navigation. Let's push data from SeeClickFix to Cartograph to Esri to Waze to navigate those citizens around our road construction projects that might have been, again, initiated from that citizen. So again, we're just building a system of systems to help with these smart city initiatives.
Well, it's nice to see that you're pretty technical for being a mayor.
Well, you know, I didn't, I'll just leave it at that.
So I know we're running up. We've got a little bit of time left, but one of the questions was, can I see the interface again from a citizen perspective from SeeClickFix, and can we walk through that process just to ensure that this particular user can get a handle on that? So let's start out as a citizen in SeeClickFix, report something, and let's see how that thing comes into Cartograph.
Okay, I'll do that from the hub. So I have
Perfect.
this linked to, I'm just going to report. I am going to report a pothole, for example. So here I have, again, this is there are several different links portals into SeeClickFix. So in this case, I've just used that portal. So pothole is already chosen for me. I am going to say that, yep, it's up here on Ashworth Drive. I can choose that location. I can confirm that. I'm going to add an image. Here's that pothole. I'm going to go to the next step. It's in the westbound lane, eastbound lane, whatever. So again, that follow-up question, confirm that, submit it. It does take a few seconds sometimes to sync up. So I'm going to go into my SeeClickFix requests. We should see then that pothole is now in SeeClickFix, and it is now service request 1561 in Cartograph. So I'm going to go to a different tab here, open my Cartograph instance, go to my request tab, and here is that same exact 1561 pothole that I just entered. I can highlight it here. I can see that it's here. I can, as a Cartograph user, again, either through mobile or the website, I can get this detailed view. I can see the image. I can see the follow-up questions, so on and so forth. So again, I can see who entered that. How did they enter that? They came through SeeClickFix. So just within a few seconds of doing that, I've got that in Cartograph.
And then just to reiterate, Jamie, from here, we could set or establish a patching activity. For example, we could complete that patching activity, close it. That would close the request and go back to notify the citizen that initially requested that.
Absolutely. Yeah, so in this case, hopefully you've got that workflow already established in Cartograph for your pothole requests. So all we've done is just passed it from SeeClickFix to Cartograph.
Perfect. I think that is the last of our questions that we had, Jamie. I want to thank you for sharing all of this great content. And like Brant yesterday, you were worried that you weren't going to have enough stuff to talk about, and I think you exceeded your expectations.
Thank you. I do have one last thing. So I do have some resources here. So next week, we're going to send out all of these PowerPoints. So right within this PowerPoints, I have some links to how do we set up some GIS, how do we push data out of Cartograph into GIS. There's a link here to the Colorado Springs did a webinar about how they integrated Waze into those maps. And then too, there's a link to our Cartograph site for 811. So next week, when you do get these PowerPoints, feel free to open this one up and follow those links for some additional resources.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Jamie, for the great information. Thank you to all of our attendees and all of the interactivity with the questions. As Jamie just mentioned, the recording and the PowerPoint will be available for you to download on demand next week. With that, we have one more session this afternoon, resource management. Please feel free to join us. We look forward to seeing you, and thank you for attending. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.